So we have a science question first, and this asks, in a certain species of plants, the color purple is dominant to the color white. One parent is dominant color purple. The other parent has different alleles, if I pronounced that correctly. Mm-hmm. According to the Punnett Square, what is the probability of an offspring being purple?
Cool, yeah, science question. I don't usually get to go first. I'm very excited.
I like Punnett Squares, though.
I do too. Well, it's a mathy science thing, right? So Punnett Squares are a way that we predict probability of a particular genetic trait. So this is such a common question. There's actually, let me pull up a picture here. There's actually going to be, great pictures online. So if you go to my screen, possibly. So this is an example of the exact question that's being asked, and this is a really common example given in biology classrooms. So the question is, if you have two parents, and let's see, the color purple is dominant. One parent is dominant color purple. The other parent has different alleles. Okay, so this is not exactly the same, but this is an example of two plants like that. So in the example I have on the screen, I've got two parents, and the parents are represented by the gray peas. So up on top I have, let's say this is the papa flower, has dominant pea, and then the little pea represents recessive pea. And then we'll say over here on the side, these two peas are mother, so dominant pea and recessive pea. So in our example, though, this is slightly different. So maybe, Nate, could I possibly get you to help me with a drawing here?
Sure.
Awesome.
So I'm so good at drawing.
You are the drawing champion.
He really is.
So that is, I mean, your stick figures are unmatched.
Thank you.
So this is going to be slightly different. So in the Punnett Square that Nate's going to draw for us, we're going to have one parent that has two dominant alleles, and then we're going to have another parent that has one dominant and one recessive. All right, so above the square, could you write a capital P, capital P?
Capital P and capital P.
Right, so this is going to be the parent that has two dominant alleles, and this flower is going to be purple. The dominant color, when you have one or two alleles that are purple, you're going to be a purple flower. That are the dominant, you're going to be a purple flower. And then on the side, let's do big P, little p. Okay, perfect. That's nice and little. I love that.
It's like, well, big P's and little P's look the same.
Like,
really?
so you use
right.
cursive. Sometimes you'll see cursive
that's
as like a way to distinguish the two.
Yeah,
but
no, this is
cursive.
so
I like
perfect.
it. I like it.
You can tell which one's recessive. Okay, so the deal is going to be, the rule is going to be that each parent is going to contribute half of their genetic code to their potential offspring, and there's 4 potential offspring being represented here. And if we end up with a parent that is dominant, as in 2 big P's, we're going to have a purple flower.
Okay.
And if we have a parent that is dominant recessive, so big P, little p, also going to be purple. The only example of a white flower would be if we had little p, little p. So let's see if we end up with any white flowers in this example. So in the top left box, we're going to put big P, that comes from those 2 parents right there. So big P, that's going to be a purple flower, 2 dominant purple traits. In the top right box, let's put big P again. Same exact thing. In the bottom left, we're going to put little p, big P. And let's just do the one on the bottom right. Well, it's the same. It's going to be little p, big P. Perfect. Okay, so what we ended up with is 2 potential offspring that are going to have the dominant allele, and 2 potential offspring that's going to have 1 dominant, 1 recessive. However, in this example, with this particular kind of a genetic trait, even if you have the recessive gene, as long as you have 1 example of the dominant gene, you're going to end up purple. So in this case, the answer to the question would be all offspring, 100% of the offspring of these 2 plants would end up purple.
Just means that half of them can have white.
Could potentially have white offspring. That's a really good point.
But only half of them can have white offspring.
That's exactly right.
Because they can then spread their little p, to another.
Right.
They would just have to have somebody else.
Exactly.
With another little.
With another little p, right? So if one parent was dominant recessive and the other parent was dominant recessive, you would have a 25% chance of having a child that was recessive. In other words, a white flower in this case.
I love those.
Yeah, they're kind of fun.
They look a lot like the area model, and they work a lot like the area model that we use in math. And it's probably the one time I really get kids saying, "Oh, I've seen this in my science class."
Right.
You see the connection a lot, and you're like, "Well, there's a lot more than that." But
it's an obvious connection.
Okay.
Subscribe.
Come on, push the button.
You know
Yeah,
you
you
want
want
to.
to.
Do it.